Feel like my intro?
I'll wait till you get finished, Jason.
I was singing.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is 4:00 here in Alabama
Mm-hmm.
on, I almost said March, May the 20th. Boy, oh boy. It doesn't feel like May to me.
I had to yawn. I didn't want to.
Oh, that was not nice.
I couldn't hold it.
And he made a noise with it. So,
Let me edit that out.
okay, you do
Let
that.
me edit that out. I have to get that out of here.
I'm glad it's not contagious. How many of y'all yawned? That's what I want to know.
It was. I held it back, so a lot of people didn't know what I was doing.
They knew what you were doing, Jason. You said, "Oh."
I thought I was howling at the moon or something.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Hope everybody's doing well and nobody's sleepy this afternoon. Jason's worried about his dog walking, and I like that hat. I didn't realize you were wearing it. Milligan Farm.
Isn't it pretty?
You know what it is?
What's that?
Ernest, T, and Opie told. That's why you're wearing it, because you got that shirt on.
It's not why I'm wearing it, but isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Milligan Farm is where Opie and Ernest T came from, and they have been showing out today as usual. We no longer have a white emu. We have an orange emu.
Completely orange.
Completely. He does not look the same.
He looks like he lives with Willy Wonka, and he belongs to a Oompa Loompa.
He really does. He didn't look like that when we first saw what he was doing this morning, but when I just came home, he's a different color.
When I was videoing over there this morning, he's in the video for tomorrow. Orange.
Yeah.
Just like Oompa Loompa.
And luckily, Opie doesn't change colors as much as Ernest T does.
Ernest T looks like he got in one of them discounted spray tans.
Jason showed me this little clip of this person that said, I bought this off Amazon.
It was a cheap spray tan.
And this is what I turned out like. That's what Ernest T looks like. But Opie, on the other hand, his color's called blonde, but he's lighter than Nugget, but it's still a similar striping.
Yeah.
Ernest T's, his color's kind of different because he's white.
Yeah, he's white.
He used to be white anyway. He's not white today.
He looks like orange sherbet.
I wonder how long it's going to take to come out, because you know what red mud does, like on your baseball pants when you were a kid?
Mm-hmm.
Your mama had to really scrub to get it out. Well, Ernest T's mama, which is me, ain't scrubbing.
You're not going to scrub him
I'm
out?
not going to scrub him to get it out.
Me too.
It's going to rain tonight, but they'll be in their stall, so they're not going to. I guess I'll have to get in the pool to
I
get
might
it out.
give him some of that gardening grit soap with the grit in it.
You think?
But that'll get it off.
I bet it will. I bet it will. So,
he's a mess though.
I get out of that one. I don't have two hands to bathe him with, so you'll have to bathe him. I'll rinse him off. That work?
That'll work.
He doesn't care. He likes the water. I sprayed him off with a water hose yesterday. Have you sprayed him yet?
Not today.
No, I mean ever.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
Okay.
That's one reason that they're that color. I put that little mud hole for them over there.
I thought it was when I filled up the waters this morning.
Nah, it was yesterday. I did it yesterday.
They have to help with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Quite inquisitive, and I must say that I took a picture of Ernest T and Nugget.
Mm-hmm.
They're, of course, fence in between them. I mean, they're never going to be together with Goldie in there, but everybody gets along.
Seems to be
through the fence. Mm-hmm. Everybody gets along. We're not going to take a chance at.
Yeah, we don't want them. They're just too little. They couldn't. If there was some static, they couldn't hold their own. So
no,
we want them to be able to hold their own in case they.
Well, not only that, we don't want a female in the mix for them to get agitated about.
Yeah, that's true too. Or her agitated at them.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
You never know what those silly things are up to.
Mm-hmm.
They're quite comical, though.
They are. It is. I don't know about where y'all, or I don't know where y'all are from, but it's almost like summer's here now.
It is. It
is. Ooh, yesterday was rough. Today's rough. We're right there at 90 degrees, but the humidity's so bad all of a sudden.
It is, and I am so thirsty. I cannot get enough to drink. I was so dirty earlier from cutting grass that I've already taken a shower. If I wouldn't have, I could have wrote my name on my face. That's how dusty I was.
Mm-hmm.
But it is hot. It is really hot.
The dew point was up yesterday. Now the dew point's down. The dew point was almost 75 yesterday, which is bad. It's that's when it feels sticky and muggy. It's not the humidity, it's the dew point's what they're telling people now. Today it's only 70.
Not the temperature.
Not
though.
temperature, the dew point. It is terrible. There is some storms coming, but I think it's going to be north of us, I hope.
Not what I've
Let's
seen.
see. Is it coming on down?
Oh yeah, it's gonna hit us between like 10 and 1 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
10 p.m. 1 a.m. It's gonna be when it's gonna hit it.
Mm-hmm. That's lovely.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of the morning.
Yeah, but we're kind of in that 9 to 11 or 10 to 1.
Right.
So I'm just hoping it's going to come through earlier. Needless to say, it's fueling up out there. It is.
The wind's blowing pretty hard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yesterday, I think we told y'all that we haven't been to the lake since January. January. As a matter of fact, we didn't think the boat was going to crank. We got an old boat and it stays on the lake in a little house thing down there. And Mary Carl had a friend over and they wanted to go to the lake. And I said, look, let me just go by there and see if the boat will even crank. Because I had to
worry about it not cranking.
I had to go pick Arlo up from the dog groomer. And I said, it'll save y'all a trip. No. Go get Arlo, take him home. We're going to go with you. And I'm like, oh, gracious. Because I just knew it wasn't going to crank.
Yeah.
I just knew it.
Yeah.
And so we get there and, it's two teenage girls and they got in their mind that they're going. They've already put sunscreen on. And lo and behold, the boat cranked.
I couldn't believe it.
It was so dirty.
Imagine.
That I looked like I did after I cut grass today. I mean,
we need to get it out and wash it.
Yes, we do. But what I was getting at is last year during the hottest part of the summer, a couple of times we got to go to the lake.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not pleasant when you're on a boat and it's hot like that without moving.
Yeah.
So we didn't have hardly any gas in the boat. It was on 0. And while we were sitting there waiting on the lady to go cut the pump on, I thought I was going to have to get in the water.
You didn't put the roof up, did you?
No.
You can't do it.
No, because I was scared of something deadly in there. I thought, here I am with one hand. I couldn't get it up by myself. I really don't know if those girls would know what to do with my direction. And I didn't want to get it halfway up and not be able to get it. So
snake fall out of it.
Well, yeah. And so I didn't get the roof up. Well, my point was, it was as hot as it was in the hottest part of the summer yesterday.
It was bad yesterday.
It was bad.
It was bad yesterday. Me and Caden worked pretty hard yesterday, and it was rough.
Well, I worked until I didn't work.
Yeah.
And, they had already asked me if we could go, and I didn't want to let them down. I just didn't think it was going to crank. I thought I was going to come right back. And I didn't. They got to swim, and I was told to do not get my hand in the pool, in the lake, in the river, in the ocean, in anything. It's got to get, my pins have got to come out, and those little puncture wounds have got to be healed over before I can get any bacteria on it. So, needless to say, I just drove them.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I can't get in the water. I'm not even really supposed to get in the bathtub and put it under.
Yeah. It's
supposed to be, and I haven't. I've just taken a shower.
Got you.
But it just needs to not get infected. So far, so good. My pin, I don't know if you can see it, but it's trying to come up. Can you see it?
Mm-mm.
Can't see it from that angle. You see it though, don't you? It's working its way out, but it's not coming through my skin yet.
I don't want to see it.
I'm hanging in there.
Somebody said kids don't feel the heat. They don't. It don't bother them at all.
No, they never said. I'm thinking to myself, I wish this gas pump would hurry up because I am hot. And of course, I was the one pumping the gas, but they didn't care.
Trust me, because yesterday, Caden been weed eating, and then we worked on another little project, and it was hot. And I don't know how many times I went and got us something to drink.
It's hot. It's hot.
And I said, okay, I'll go get something to drink. I'm coming in here hitting that air conditioning, taking me a little quick break. He's still working. He don't stop. He has no stop in him until it's lunchtime.
Yeah. And then he don't stop but long enough to get his food in him.
I know.
He don't give you a break, does he?
Yeah, he works me hard now. He does. He works me hard. So yesterday we were eating lunch. Matter of fact, we were eating lunch. And I don't know how our conversations end up like they do. But we were talking, and somehow or another we got on the conversation of buying a car. He's not buying a car, but the conversation of buying a car, and I was giving him kind of a inside of the car business because that's what I did forever. And I was telling him about, buying cars and, how it all works and stuff. And, the day before, a couple of days ago, he learned about planting corn. Anyways, he told me, he said, Mr. Jason, he said, I learned more in one day here than I do in a month at school.
He's trying so hard to get homeschooled. But I understand his mom and daddy's reasoning for not doing it because all he wants to do is work.
Yeah.
And, he's got to finish school. And, of course, if he homeschooled, he'd be wanting to hurry through school so he could go to work because he wants to make money and he wants to make a living and he wants to save. And, they just want him to stay in school. And I understand that.
Yeah.
But next year, did he tell you he's going to trade school?
He talked about it. Yeah.
And so he's going to be much happier with his schooling situation because when he graduates, he's going to have a welding degree.
That's right.
So, I mean, he's got his head screwed on straight, and that's a lot to say for a 16-year-old.
It is. It really is. He's such a good, I don't like to use the word kid, but he's a great person. Great young man. Our conversations, they go all over the place. They go all over the place. You never know what we're going to be talking about. But he did inform me that he'd been saving up his money and showed me what he had purchased. I don't have a picture of it, but I don't. But
I hope he sends me some pictures. Maybe while we're on this live.
He bought himself a fishing boat. And I thought, because he fishes so much, and so I thought that that his dad or somebody had one that they went on, and they don't. He either goes with a friend or somebody that has a fishing boat, and he fishes all the time. So the fact that he'd been saving up his money this whole time and bought himself a fishing boat was impressive at 16 years old.
Yeah, very impressive.
And a nice boat,
I was fixing to say, this is not a John boat. I mean, not to knock a John boat by all means, but y'all, this is a bass boat.
He got himself a bass boat, a 2017 bass boat.
It's really nice. To tell you how nice it is, the gentleman he bought it from borrowed money for it. And this kid's paying cash for it.
Unreal.
So,
what's that, 200 hours on it?
100
hours.
100 hours.
So, which is not a lot.
No.
Matter of fact, he was going to come work today. See, I tried to get him to knock off earlier yesterday because he was getting it yesterday.
Well, he had to go home and clean out the garage. His daddy was taking care of getting the finance part of it. Giving the man the money, and making the transaction happen. He wasn't going to be present for any of that. His daddy was going to handle it.
Okay, so he was cleaning up the garage.
Yeah, so he wanted to leave at 4.
I got you.
So he could clean up the garage. Texted me this morning and said, Miss Brooke, I just finished my final exam. Would you like me to come and work? And I said, Caden, I said, sure, you can come and work. Or you could take your new boat to the lake. And I see ... meaning he's typing.
He's typing.
Let me just see. Let me just read you what he said because it's good. Let's see. Miss Brooke, I just got out. Would you still like for me to work? I said, that's up to you. If you want to take your boat to the lake, you go right ahead, or you can come here. He said, are you sure? And I said, absolutely. Enjoy yourself and send me some pictures of the fish you catch. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Would you like for me to work Wednesday instead?
Oh, goodness. That's him.
So I
That
mean,
is him.
his work is his priority. His play is his 2nd, and he wanted to make sure that he wasn't. He didn't ask me if he could go to the lake. He was going to come here.
He was gonna come here
until I said,
Yep.
"You go to the lake."
He told me. He said, "Mr. Jason," he said, "I'm gonna take you fishing.
Well,
I'm taking you fishing." Like,
Oh.
oh me.
I was thinking while I was cutting grass, I was like, you know what? Y'all are gonna have a good time fishing.
We are.
You're gonna have a good time, and you've got to go with them. You've got
Oh
to
yeah, I
make
gotta
time
go with him.
because he is proud of that boat.
Got to
I
go
said,
with him.
Caden, have you taken your mama fishing yet? And he said, no, ma'am. And I said, Caden. He said, Miss Brooke, I don't have my boat yet. His mama is very important to him, and I knew that as soon as he got the boat, then his mama and daddy would both be in his boat, showing how much he appreciates it.
Man, that boat's gonna get. I bet it won't have 100 hours on it come in the summer.
I bet it won't either.
I bet it won't. I can guarantee you that. He's gonna be in the water.
He's gonna be in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Good for
goodness.
him.
I hope he sends me some pictures
I do
of
too.
some fish he
It's
catches.
hot out there, but
Well, a storm's coming, and that usually
stirs them up.
Isn't that right, Michael?
Is Michael on here?
Yeah, I saw him.
Did you?
I saw him.
That's the old saying. That's the old saying.
Or after a rain. Is it before a rain or after a rain?
Well, so now what I'm thinking is that me and Caden, we ought to do a little buddy tournament. Me and Caden versus Michael and his boy.
Ah, I thought you were going to say versus me and Mary Carl.
Or either Michael and Ryan.
Michael and Ryan. And you and Caden. There we go.
Oh.
Tony.
Oh, Tony can get in on it too.
Yeah.
Tony and Catherine.
Yeah, but they're going to be in a different lake.
Well, they can meet us at the lake.
You think?
Yeah.
At Mitchell?
What you eating, girl? What?
Oh, goodness gracious. Some fishing. So Emily told me yesterday that she liked to fish.
Yeah, you told me that, and I was a little shocked.
I said, Emily,
mm-hmm.
I don't have a fishing pole, and I don't have a license that's current
at the
lake.
Yeah.
And she said, she didn't realize that I didn't have a current license.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, I don't, because I don't think she has to have one because she's under 16. Isn't that right?
Yes, I think that's correct.
But we're going to have to get those girls a license because they want to go fishing. So me and Emily and Mary Carl against you and Caden.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, because then I'll
have we could have us a shown of Cog Hill Farm tournament here now.
That's a good idea.
We really could.
Nick, you in?
I'm telling you, we could. With Michael and Ryan, the roaster.
So if I'm gonna be fishing out of an old ski boat.
I was trying to see how Jacqueline and Zach could get in it.
I don't know. Nick's in.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
See there?
Nick's in. It's gonna be fun. All right.
We may have to work something out on that. That would be fun.
It would. It would be fun.
It would be fun.
So y'all saw my video. You saw that I made a little trip up to North Alabama to get an attachment for the new skid steer that Jason purchased for me, which is also old, but in very good working condition.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as he's surprised,
Michael said he in.
Michael's gonna take me. That's good. So me and Michael against you and Caden. We gonna knock y'all socks off. You better look out. So
here's the thing though. Here's the thing, Mike. Caden fishes Lake Mitchell all the time.
Well,
I'm just saying.
That's okay. Michael will know where the honey holes are before we go.
What Michael do, he'll go out there, he'll go catch him a mess of fish, and then the day prior, he'll go out there and put them in baskets or something out there,
He would never do that.
And then act like he catches them.
No, that's cheating.
Oh.
A fundraiser for farm feed. That's a good one.
Catherine and Tony. We could
Yeah.
have Catherine, Tony, Nick, and Zoe. Oh, we could. This would be fun.
Yes. Yes, we've never thought of this.
We've never thought of this.
Got to get Clack. He's got a boat.
Clack's got a boat.
So Brandy and Clack.
Or Emily.
Yeah, or Emily.
Yeah.
Emily's going to want to be with me and Mary Carl, though.
That's true.
And that's going to be with Michael, so.
Michael had four girls on his
He's
boat.
in trouble.
Oh, me.
So as soon as I got the skid steer, was surprised with it, I started looking for attachments. And I had read that not all the attachments are created equal, which makes sense because it's a thicker gauge of steel used
That's
on,
right. That's right.
I guess it's kind of like, what?
Miss Kathy said somebody could use the paddle boat.
Yeah, that's right. Kind of like,
oh, me.
I don't know. I'm trying to compare the steel. It's just the thickness of steel made in, a foreign country versus made in the USA. So I wanted a Bobcat brand bucket.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know where it's made. I don't know where Bobcat's made, but I know it's thick steel. And that's the brand of the skid steer. Lo and behold, I found one.
You did?
I found one.
Quick.
And I had to make sure it would work. So I had to call a dealership to find out if this bucket would work. And they said if it's got wide tracks. So Jason had to reach out to Chip and make sure it had wide tracks. Lo and behold, it did. So I go up to, I don't even know where I went. I went somewhere.
North Alabama.
Somewhere north. And y'all, I didn't go into details, but the gentleman had told me that he could not put it in the back of the truck, that I needed to pull a trailer. And I didn't say why. I just said, okay. And so I went to Tractor Supply because they give you a free rental a month if you have the Preferred Plus membership or whatever it is.
What a family something.
We don't pay anything for it. We just buy a bunch of stuff there. So you get this free rental a month.
We've used it twice.
I took advantage of it, though, because I didn't want to pull our 20-foot trailer. The bucket's not that big.
And
but
looking back, it sure would have been easier.
Well,
getting it off.
Yeah. So I borrowed the little trailer and we go up north, and the gentleman calls me and he said, I was just making sure you were still coming today. And I said, yes, sir. I'm on your road right now. Because 5:00 was the meeting time and it was 4:59. And I got to be there on time.
That's right.
And he said, okay, I'm going to get a couple of my buddies to come over and help load it. I said, okay. So he said, you'll see it. It's in my yard on the ground, and just stop right there. It's on the other side of my yard. About that time, I see two gentlemen walking across the road, and I see the Bobcat bucket in his front yard, but it's kind of in the side of his front yard. And I said, you got something to load it with? And he said, we think we're just going to pick it up and put it on there. And my eyes, I'm thinking to myself,
are they young?
Not our age. One of them was probably a little older than us, but two of them were a lot younger than us.
Okay.
So I'm thinking to myself,
because the older fella would have known that nobody's gonna pick that bucket up. I would think
he was the owner of the pool company.
Yeah.
He was the smartest one of the three.
Yeah.
But he never said that they couldn't pick it up.
Yeah.
He never gave up. He had all kind of ideas as to how they were going to load it. I thought to myself, I hated Jason didn't feel good that day because he did not need to go. He was running a little temperature, but it's a good thing he stayed home because this wasn't good. They had no way to load it. No tractor, no skid steer, nothing. This bucket weighs approximately 700 pounds.
Yeah, it's heavy.
The trailer had a gate that was made on the back of it. You couldn't take it off. A lot of them have pins that you can weld it on there.
This one had springs on it.
And it was welded.
Yeah.
No taking the gate off. So, it would be easy if we could take this gate off. I'm like, yeah, it would, but the gate don't come off. Didn't ask me if I was bringing a trailer with a removable gate or not.
No.
I said, okay. So they told me to back up to it. And so they tried that. And then they said, we hate to ask you to do this, but you're going to have to back up to it the other way. So luckily I can move a trailer around pretty good. So I get backed up to it the other way. And I'm just thinking the whole time, I'm like, I'm fixing to go home and I'm not going to have this bucket because they're not going to be able to load it. In the meantime, it's below an oak tree. And my thoughts were, the last time
it dropped all the way off.
We're sorry, y'all.
We're sorry. We don't know what's going on with our internet. And I don't think it's here. I think it's
somewhere else.
I think it's across the everything. Yep.
So I thought that if worst comes to worst, we could swing a rope up in this tree and attach a come along and maybe lift it over the limb of the tree. But I didn't suggest that. I just let these three men.
It's not a come along, it's an engine hoist.
I still let these men, brainstorm. I'm not getting in the middle of this. I'm outnumbered. I got 3 guys here that they act like they know what they gonna do. So I was quiet. We didn't carry on any conversation or anything. I just did what they told me to do. And that's not normally me, but I was a little nervous. I didn't record. I didn't do anything. I'm thinking to myself, this is not going to work. And I'm going home and I'm not going to have this bucket because they don't have any way to load it. And y'all, they had 2 PVC pipes and they picked that bucket up and put those PVC pipes under it. And it took 45 minutes, which doesn't seem like that long, but it was a long time when you're talking about hooking a winch up off a Jeep, making sure it didn't hit the side of the vehicle. When he's winding, it was nerve-wracking. I'm glad Jason was at home. Aren't you?
Yeah, stuff like that. Fooling with heavy stuff always makes me nervous.
Well,
it does.
You would have said it's not going to get loaded, just like I did. And I usually don't do that. I usually don't say this isn't going to work, but I literally thought this isn't going to work.
But it did.
So it did. They finally got it on there. And when I left, they said, do you want to keep these 2 little pieces of PVC pipe so you can get it off? I said, no, I got a skid steer we're going to unload it with. And the PVC pipe would not have worked because neither one of us could have gotten that PVC up under it. Didn't want to drive with it like that because it would have been rolling all over the place.
Well, I knew it was heavy when I went out there that day. And usually, if it's something's heavy, you can usually, push on it and move. You know what I'm talking about? You're not picking it up, you're just pushing it. And I went out there and it was raining. And so it was wet. And I pushed on it and it didn't move. And I knew then it's heavy.
Well, I must say that one of them could get on the end of it and pick it up enough to slide the PVC pipe up under it. And, but they build swimming pools for a living. So messing with heavy equipment is just an everyday kind of thing. And they're no longer using a bucket of a bobcat to dig with. They're using a mini excavator or excavator. So that's why they sold the bucket. But what I wanted to say was so many people said, when that bucket was up in the air on the skid steer, why didn't you just drive out from under it? And it was so many that I finally just copied and pasted my comment to multiple places because, yes, that would have been easy to do. And it was logical. But y'all, it was a rental trailer and it had a gate on the back of it.
The gate was on the ground.
That would not come off. And if I had drove with that gate on the ground, it would have scratched it all up. And then I'd have had to pay for the damage done to the trailer. So we didn't want to do that. We knew that we couldn't drag that trailer with the gate on the back of it. But yes, we did think of that. It would have been ideal, but it would not work.
But that skid steer's so strong.
Oh,
it is so strong. 700 pounds is nothing.
Nothing.
A drop in the bucket.
The fact that it has skids on it instead of tires is a blessing in disguise because right now the tractor's on 3 tires. We've said time and time again that we need tires on everything that don't go flat because eventually tires are going to go flat and probably eventually the track's going to come off the skid steer.
I hope not.
It will eventually. There's no way around it. If you own a skid steer and the track don't come off, you ain't doing something right.
If it does, oh my gracious.
I'm going to wait till my hand gets fixed before.
Sink or swim, putting that thing back on. I wonder if it's like a bicycle chain.
I bet
I wonder if you get, just halfway on the sprocket and you turn it, it just goes up on there.
I need to start rewatching episodes of these heavy equipment shows that I like to watch because I've seen them put many of them on.
I won't ever forget, that's got rubber tracks on it. It's different than a bulldozer.
Right.
It's got the metal tracks on it and they're kind of linked. that when the tracks come off from Mr. Gregg's bulldozer here. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was a mess.
Yeah.
That was a mess. He took it home though. He took the whole dozer home, didn't he?
I don't remember.
Yeah, he didn't fix it here.
I don't remember.
I don't think he fixed it here. I think he went home. And had to fix it and had to do some welding and cutting and torching, and you don't do that with this though.
No, it's rubber tracks, and it does make a mess out of the rocks. But it's not gonna. I've drove it across the grass. It's not gonna tear it up to where it's like
especially once
holes
it's
or
dried out.
Yeah.
After a rain, it can mess it up pretty good. But
And
once
plus,
it's dried out,
we didn't buy it to move around on the grass. We can use our tractor for that. We have it to clean up woods and to move heavy stuff with. It's not gonna be taking the place of the tractor. It's gonna be in addition to.
But it's gonna do a lot.
It's gonna do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I bumped that. Matter of fact, I wanted to get in it the other afternoon, and I tell you, I'm not complaining, but it's like since this thing happened to my hand, I don't have the energy I had. I don't feel bad.
It's probably because your body knows you're gonna get in there and start moving it, and it's gonna hurt, and it's like, you know what, we're gonna shut Brooke down so she don't get in it.
I don't know what
it is. Going on.
I don't know, but I had endless amounts of energy before this happened, and you can look at my steps on my phone. It's not that I feel bad. There's no rhyme or reason. It's just I don't have the energy.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it yesterday because I hit my step goal yesterday for the first time in a while.
Did you?
Yeah. And I went back and looked, at when the day that the accident happened to now, and it's just been. It's just
what it is.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna get back.
Your hand is telling your mind, they're working together. Your hand and your mind are working together. And the hand's like, look, let's slow her down, buddy. Slow her down. Because if not, this thing's gonna pop out like a spring. Gonna look like Wolverine.
Yeah. It's gotta be something to do with my body just trying to heal. I did withhold my medicine for a week, my injection, which is the Enbrel, and then the methotrexate, I withheld it for 2 weeks. So that could have something to do with it, but I'm not aching. It's not like that flu feeling.
That's right.
Where I can't get out of the bed. It's just I don't have the energy.
A lot of people said Daniel had to put the track on his one time, so I can call Daniel.
Okay, well, you do that.
I might just get him to come over here, drive 10, 12 hours.
Okay, you do that.
And then me and Caden can take him fishing.
Okay. Okay. Y'all do that. Yeah, you call FaceTime Daniel. I'll hold the phone for you.
I could FaceTime and he can tell me how.
Hey, look, we don't need to plan on putting the strap back on there before it happens.
That's right. We don't need to manifest this.
No. I said it's going to happen, but I don't mean it's going to happen right now. Somebody said anesthesia can stay in your system for 2 weeks.
Really?
Well, it's 2 weeks today.
So tomorrow you might be wide open.
Tomorrow I'm going to be wide open.
Like a peanut hole.
Yep. I'm going to be wide open.
Oh, so you're talking about that. There was something that I wanted to talk about that I made a mistake. It's rare that I say something that's wrong. That's just rare. I don't make many mistakes.
I'm not smiling. I'm not doing anything because I don't either, Jason.
I do have I do have the special ability of my mouth. Words come out of my mouth before they enter or process through my mind. My mouth's faster than my brain is sometimes.
I know what you're talking about.
And it just comes on out.
And just saying, we can't grow calendulas in Alabama in the summertime. Is that what you were going to talk about?
No. Well, I was going to talk about the calendulas that, I called the calendulas in my video. And we just had talked about planting calendulas in the back. And anyways, so that the calendula was stuck. And calendula and caladium are similar or ish.
They both start with a C.
Got 3 syllables each, right?
Yeah.
No, 4 and 3. Sorry,
I just agreed with you.
but I did call the caladiums calendulas
In the
in my
video.
video. I did.
But
I
you
did.
know the difference.
I do know the difference, but you know,
It's
just
almost laughable that he wouldn't know the difference.
but I did want to apologize because I hope there ain't anybody went out there and bought them some calendulas and planned on planting them in the shade because they're not going to do well.
No, and they wouldn't do good in Alabama summer either.
Some of them would, but
Ours
not
that
in the
you plant
shade.
out front wouldn't.
Not in the shade.
Oh goodness.
They wouldn't handle the shade at all. So those are caladiums, look like elephant ears. They're caladiums, and they do like the shade. So
they do.
I did make that mistake. I can't believe I did that.
And you know, I almost
I
picked up a
can't believe
chair off the side of the road yesterday.
You gonna make a planter out of it?
I stopped the car
Mm-hmm.
and I realized it only had 3 legs.
I hope somebody caladium. Oh, they're both 4 syllables, both of them. So they got the same amount of syllables.
Yeah.
Calendulas and caladiums.
But
I mean, they're very similar.
It only had 3 legs, but my thoughts were that we could just screw the chair onto something. Then I thought, well, Jason's gonna put it in the burn pile if I do that. So I didn't get it. He doesn't like collecting junk like I do.
I like thrifting and I like old things, but I like them to be, presentable or usable.
So I didn't get it because I knew otherwise.
Yeah.
I knew I shouldn't get it.
Heather said her mouth doesn't wait for her brain either. So there's some other people out there that are like that.
Well, I hope Heather don't make videos because it happens and you have to learn how to edit.
Edit it out
Leave it in.
I didn't even catch it when I edited it. I just let it
Leave it in and let people tell you that you are incorrect.
Hey, my engagement was up in that video though.
Was it?
Yeah.
So maybe you ought to start doing that on purpose, huh?
Yeah. Or just don't edit it out when I do it. The worst one is when I call Mildred Matilda and Matilda Mildred. I do that all the time.
Speaking of that,
I do Jesse and Honey too.
Did you ever see?
Yeah, I drove Big Joe down there.
Did they come to eat?
I never saw them come to eat, but I drove Big Joe. They're hanging out yonder at the Pine Thicket because it's so hot outside.
So Matilda's got to have Luberson this evening.
If she comes
because
up there.
she did not come this morning. And y'all, that's how you know when your grass is good, when your cows don't even want to come eat. Yeah, they don't even want to come eat.
That's right.
And that's the first time ever for Matilda because when she was in with the goats, she had grass, but she was so used to that routine that when we come out of the door in the morning, she was already hollering at us. But she doesn't do that anymore.
Well, she didn't do it today.
She's with other cows.
But in the morning, she's been doing it.
No, she didn't do it this morning.
That's what I'm saying. She didn't do it today, but yesterday she did it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying today is the first day that she hasn't mooed at us. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep. You had to go find them to check on them.
I did.
I
drove Big Joe down yonder. Big Joe crunk up.
I saw you going down the road on it, and I thought to myself, what is he doing?
I just had to give Big Joe a little love today.
Okay.
I did. Riding him around. He cranked on the first try. I think it's out of time because it's got a little stutter when I give it all the gas all the way. And I thought to myself, Jason, you probably need to time this thing up. And I thought, you know what? That thing runs. It cranks right off the bat. If it does got just a little bit of miss in it, I'm just going to leave it alone because I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get in there and try to fix something. And I'm going to start that same cycle it was 3 months ago all the way to 2 years prior. I'm going to mess something up and I'm just going to let it be. It's just going to have that little boom, that little hit like that. It's just that little stumble.
I hear you.
Yeah, I'm not fooling with it. We're just going to let Big Joe stumble.
Okay. You just let it stumble, Jason.
Big Joe's been around since 1948.
Yeah.
How old is that? You can't do that math in your head?
Jason, I can. 77, 79 years.
Is it?
Yeah.
77.
I was close.
77 years. So, yeah. Big Joe. Been around the block.
It has.
Mm-hmm.
So your granddaddy would be 103 now, wouldn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So that was he didn't even drive that nice of a tractor when he was a kid. He had a mule and a
yeah.
and
They plowed the hard way.
wow.
I bet it was in high cotton. When that 8N, which still was the ones prior to that, you had the 9N and the 2N, but
that was before the 8N? The 9N was before the 8N?
1939. That's why it's a 9. It's the last.
Okay.
I think that's right.
That's confusing though.
It
you would
is
think the
confusing.
9 would be after
and I
the
think
8.
the 2N is 1942, and I think the 8N is 1948. I think I'm right. I think I'm right on that.
Okay.
But when those tractors came out, the 8Ns, it was a little more fancier. It's got the running boards on it where your feet sit. The 2N and the 9N didn't have that. Okay. Just had two little foot pegs.
Well, the fenders or whatever you want to call it, put your legs on, is much better.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's way better. A lot of them ended up, farmers would weld those on there. Okay. And that's probably where Ford got the idea to put that on there. So
speaking of welders, Mr. Nick at Chestnut Hills has gifted us a welder that we are going to learn to use. We are going to learn to use, and we are so thankful for him thinking of us because he knew that we wanted to learn how. I've just got to get us a Welding helmet. Kate's got one, of course, and we got to have one of our own because if we're going to learn, we got to have a helmet.
Got to have a helmet. Can't. You don't want to squint and try to weld.
Oh, that's no joke. That's not even a joke.
I will never forget one time my Uncle Luther. Well, we were at the shop, the business, the granddaddy's business, dad's business, the one that burnt down. We were back there and he was welding and he thought he was just going to touch something up and he didn't need a helmet.
Who did that?
My Uncle Luther.
Oh, gosh.
And it messed him up for about a week.
Wow.
Next day, his eyes were swollen.
Jason, he's lucky he could see again.
Messed him up.
That's not anything to play with.
Messed him up.
Wow.
And I saw that with my own eyes as a young fella.
Well, I hope you weren't looking at it.
No, I was probably, that's probably 6, 7, 8 years old, maybe.
Well, I have not been raised around anybody that did any welding, but I tell you what, I know that you are to wear a welding helmet around anybody welding or doing it yourself. Speaking of the shop that burnt down, my phone rang this morning. Yeah. And it said Montgomery, Alabama, and I didn't know who it was, but I answered anyway. And hello, and I said, "This is Josh from Hertz Rental in Montgomery, Alabama. I was just checking to see Penske Rental. Okay. I was just checking to see if you might be needing to rent a truck in the future because I see in my records that you have rented from us before." And I said, "Josh, I hate to tell you this, but I hope I don't ever rent another Penske truck." And he said, "Yes, ma'am, I understand." And when I think about the fact that I took that truck to Mississippi and me and those two men loaded all that stuff up in the heat of the summer, all those candle jars, all that equipment, and that shop burnt down because arson, it makes me sick to my stomach.
Yeah, it does.
It does. It makes me sick to my stomach. It's just, I don't know.
I don't want to think about it.
Well, I don't want to think about it either, but you got the good end of it because if you had to do it, you would be mad as fire.
I know.
And I
know.
It was a big deal.
Talking about Big Joe, what I was getting at before I got sidetracked. I don't know how I got sidetracked, but that's how I do. I was thinking though, talking about Granddaddy using a horse or a mule and a plow, or a horse and a plow, or plowing it by hand, pretty much. And then those tractors came out, and it was a game changer for farmers because they were small and compact. They wasn't this big, massive tractor, and small farms could have them. So I just can't imagine, somebody like Granddaddy they get in that tractor and not having to use the mule or that plow
Oh
system,
goodness.
what they felt like. Can you imagine?
Oh, I'm sure it was.
Can you imagine? It would have been unreal.
I guess it's probably, on a physical level versus mental level, but I mean, we remember no computers.
Yeah.
And then we remember computers. And
Mhm.
so I guess on a physical level versus mental level, it's the
Mhm.
same thing.
How did you just
It's that big of a transition.
just going from that to getting that? And from my understanding was as they were pretty affordable. That was Ford's concept, and they wanted to make it affordable, and they wanted to make them super simple that anybody can work on them except me. Just took me 2.5 years to get it going, but I got it.
That's right.
But I feel like now if something breaks something, I can fix it pretty easy now. I think I got it pretty down pat. Unless an internal engine component messes up, that'll be something that would put me back a little
Well,
bit.
I just hope your confidence level stays high, because what happens to you is something little goes wrong and it can't be fixed easily, and you lose your confidence.
Yeah, I probably do.
I know you do.
Not on Big Joe though. I think I got as much as I done on that thing.
You think you got it figured out?
Mm-hmm.
Think you got it figured out?
Think I got it figured out pretty much.
Hmm.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
and I know stuff like now that I didn't know back then is don't leave the key on when you're not using it. If you're out there, not leave the key on for days. I'm just talking about just leaving it on when you're it cuts off and you're fooling around working with it, because it could burn the points and the points up on it. Just little stuff like that I've picked up on. And cutting the gas off, running the gas out of the fuel tank or fuel bowl.
that yellow tractor that we had, that first tractor your daddy gave us, we had to cut the fuel on and off to it.
Yeah, because you don't want to just sit there in the car.
Yeah, I remember, going inside sometimes and saying, I don't think I cut that fuel back off.
Mm-hmm.
And then it had the stack, the exhaust.
That's
it
right.
didn't have the thing on the top of it where water could get in it, and sometimes we would forget to put the cup on top of it, and we'd have to go back out and remember.
Yep. Because you don't want water going down.
That's right.
Michael said he put the belt on this Cub Cadet, can't tell him anything.
Okay. Well,
I worked on Lawnmower yesterday too, Mike.
He worked on a lawnmower because his wife ran over some barbed wire.
Brooke decided that she thought that barbed wire would help cut the grass better.
It did too.
Just going under there. You don't have to worry about it, dulling or anything, because it's barbed wire. But so she put barbed wire up under there, and I had to get it out.
It's not nearly as bad as what Tony Green did.
Oh goodness.
Barbed wire. At least my barbed wire did not tear my lawnmower up.
Oh, Tony got in barbed wire and tore his lawnmower up?
No, he got in baling twine. And it messed up a spindle.
It'll do it.
Oh yeah, we've been there, done that twice.
It'll do it.
We ain't no we to it. It's me. It's me. I thought I had picked all that barbed wire up where in the pasture where Reska and Willie are gonna go. Catherine said Tony tried to blame it on her. I wasn't gonna tell that part, Catherine.
Oh goodness.
And it was a strand out of the pile where I had it wound up. It was just a strand.
I'm telling you, can find it. You can find it. I mean, I've cut grass twice. Everything, because we split stuff around here. But since you've been hurt and stuff, I get on it and I don't get off. I'll just sit there all day and I cut everything. And I didn't run over anything. And the first day you get back up on it, you hit the barbed wire.
I hit the barbed wire the first time.
You're going to find it.
The first time I cut grass since my finger's been messed up, I ran over the barbed wire and I said, oh my gosh. And I hit the blade real quick. And so it cut the blade off and it didn't wrap around it. I was able to pull it out from under it. And I said, sure, that was close. And then the next time I cut, got it around it. I got it around it.
Nick said Zoe hit 4 foot of field fencing.
Oh, y'all just be glad we cut the grass. That's 3 women there. That's Catherine. Yeah. And then it's Zoe. And then it's me. Just be glad we cut the grass.
Carla, You hammer meat nail, because that's exactly right. That would be Brooks. That you could probably make millions doing that.
What?
Companies need to hire you to see how
Durable their equipment is?
durable their equipment is.
Send it on, people. Send it on.
Because I've said before,
Jason,
you could probably tear up a iron anvil in the middle of a field with a rubber hammer.
I want to tell you, let me tell y'all why Brooke can tear this stuff up. Because Brooke works all the time. So if I wasn't doing something, if I was sitting on my hind end, then it wouldn't get tore up, right?
Oh, me.
So I'm on it all the time. At least I'm working. If you don't work, you can't tear nothing up. If you work, you're going to tear something up eventually. Eventually. I used to beg my mom and daddy to cut grass. Can I please cut grass? And I was knee-high to a grasshopper. I mean, and my mama would say, Carl, she's not cutting grass. She'll cut her toes off. And that was her thing every time. Mama said she'll cut her toes off. And finally, one day, Carl said, Carl was my daddy. Carl said, Mary Lou, let Brooke cut the grass.
Yeah.
And from that point on, it was on. I pushed that lawnmower all over our neighborhood. I cut everybody in the neighborhood's grass. Wasn't no such thing as a riding lawnmower. I pushed everybody's grass. I was like Caden Wilson, but in a girl's body.
Was it one of those Murray push mowers?
I don't know. It was red.
I bet it was a Murray.
It was red. I didn't tear nothing up. I didn't tear anything up.
Oh,
never. And I made money. And you know what I did with my money? I ironed it on the ironing board.
You didn't buy a boat.
I didn't buy a boat. I would get my mama's ironing board out and I would iron my money so it was all nice and pretty. And I never cut my toes off. And my mama told me the other day, she said, Brooke, you don't remember when you went through that stage and you wouldn't call me or your daddy, mama or daddy. You called me Mary Lou and your daddy, Carl. She said, we'd be in public and you'd say, Carl, can you come here for a second? And she said, I don't know what made you do that.
Oh, gosh, that's hilarious.
And I said, I bet it was because you kept kids and all those kids called you Mary Lou and him Carl. So I started doing it.
I bet so. Cindy said her mama made her wear her dad's work boots when she cut the grass.
Now, I would have cut my feet off if I had been wearing too big of shoes.
That's funny.
You know, speaking of cutting stuff off, and this is a good story. It sounds terrible, but it's a good story.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking the other day how bad it's been to be without two fingers, basically. Without, goodness gracious. Without being able to use my left hand in its entirety. It has been the pits, especially when you work outside and you want to do stuff, you just don't realize how bad you need two hands. And I got to thinking about this young man that when he was 15 years old, he was working at a deer processor plant in Selma. And it was like during his Christmas break or something. They had a lot of deer. And y'all, he got his arm cut in the meat grinder. And I remember to this day, we lived in Selma. It was a small town. He had to be airlifted to UAB. He just about lost his life, and he lost his arm. It was about up to here, and it never stopped him. Cliff was never down from the time he lost his arm. Michael Key knows exactly what I'm talking about. Cliff he is a hardworking man that has a family. He went to work. You never would have known that. I mean, you could look at him and see he was missing his arm, but he didn't miss a beat. Yeah. And it just made me think what a person he really was to just keep going and to not let, I mean, on the inside, he was probably ate up because he couldn't do what he wanted to do. Yeah. But he never quit. He never quit. And he has a job that's a good job. One arm didn't stop him. Yep. It's just sometimes it's as much of the attitude as it is anything else. And Cliff is an example. Yep, that's right, Mary. Where there's a will, there's a way. Cliff made it work.
He sure made it work.
He proved to those people that just because he was missing a limb didn't mean he couldn't do something. Because he did.
There was a question or comment that came up. I ain't seen him either, Mike.
He works at the mill
Does
in
he?
Maplesville.
That because me and Kaden planted the tomatoes and corn out there in the garden, and there's I got several comments that you shouldn't plant tomatoes and corn together, which we did at the old farm and never had any issues. But a lot of people said I should plant what they call the three sisters, and it's corn, beans, and squash in this all together. Because the beans climb up the corn and the squash shade the corn's feet and keeps it moist. And well, I'm not growing beans this year, pole beans, because of the kudzu bugs, and I can't imagine having that much squash.
Oh my gracious, y'all! We have
three plants.
We are given to my mama. I have cooked yesterday squash.
3 plants.
I'm going to cook it again today. We're going to be like squash coming out our ears by the end of the summer.
If there's one plant that somebody could or one vegetable that you could plant that could feed a family or a person or however many people you want all summer long, it is definitely squash.
Yeah.
Or zucchini.
Yeah, because you could get 1 or 2 plants. And if you're a single person, one plant would supply you.
Plenty.
One plant would be plenty.
Nobody buys it. So I'll see people selling in a stand. Nobody buys it. Nobody buys squash.
Nobody buys squash.
Nobody buys squash.
And it doesn't keep in the heat. So we would have to have a way to keep it cool. And, out of the sun for sure. I told Caden, I said, if the temperatures keep coming on like this, Caden, I make these ham sandwiches, y'all. And I put them in this panini press that I bought at the thrift store years ago. Just a ham sandwich with cheese and bread and a little bit of butter, mayonnaise, mustard, put it in that press and it makes it all striped and pretty. And Caden said, Miss Brooke, you make the best ham sandwiches. And Jason said, Miss Brooke, maybe you ought to sell those ham sandwiches out there at the stand. And I said, Mr. Jason and Mr. Caden, if it's as hot as it has been, I can leave those eggs out there and not put them in that cooler and they can have their own fried egg sandwich. But squash just don't, tomatoes are the only thing we found that'll sell.
Yeah, tomatoes are the only thing that's sold out there on the farm.
But y'all, there are fruit stands on every corner
there's
in
little
county.
Farm stands like that everywhere.
And we have freeze-dried squash. We have put seasoning on it. It is good chips. It makes good.
It is good, but I got tired of eating them. The chips. I did. I couldn't eat another one. I done ate so many of them squash chips. Oh my goodness.
We did. We made a lot of them. And you just,
oh, man.
I don't know.
But it is good. And but I just can't imagine all those out there. Oh my goodness. I can't imagine.
Nick and Zoe are telling us they eat a lot of squash, so you know what we'll do when we have some leftovers.
I'm not figuring they planting squash. They ain't planting squash this year.
Well, they're trying to get their garden going,
That's right.
They got to get some.
That's right. Well, don't worry. You can plant squash all the way to probably.
Well,
I know to September.
Y'all could take one of those protein tubs that we have freeze-dried squash. That's how we made the chips. That's what we were talking about. You could take one of those protein tubs like you use for the cows, and y'all could put it at the house and right out back door have you a squash.
Oh, yeah.
Squash plant. Michael said he likes figs. If he hadn't ever said that.
My figs look good, Mike. But figs is a late season fruit, but they're looking good. So fingers crossed.
They do look good. I cut grass in the fruit orchard the other day.
You see the apples?
Oh goodness. I was wondering why they were little.
Oh, they're just babies.
Okay. Are they gonna get bigger though?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was thinking about Michael as I was looking at those fig trees. I said, come on, produce, because I haven't made fig preserve since we were at the old farm. And we're going to do it. Speaking of preserves, we've almost been on an hour, but we don't want to miss this. We almost did.
We got our new box from Stone Hollow today.
Stone Hollow Farmstead up in Birmingham has a subscription box that they send to us every month, and we got it in the mail, and I brought stuff to taste it, but we almost forgot.
And we always like tasting it on here with you guys because it's always different. Yeah. There's nothing, you're not going to get grape jelly.
That's right. It's not your Welch's grape jelly or anything you've ever had before. It's different.
And it's all local farms, and so that's what makes it so great. And today, this one sounds. I'm excited about this one because I think it's going to be great. But it sounds good, but then again, it kind of blueberry jalapeno jam.
It sounds good to me. I'm not a spicy
I
person.
hope you got some water because I
do
don't
have
know
some
what it's
water.
going to be like now.
But I don't usually like hot stuff. Like hot wings, I don't like hot wings. I like mild wings.
I smell jalapenos.
You smell it?
Mm-hmm.
You got to tell me if it's too hot because I can't handle too hot. Now, that's a big old bite. Don't think I'm going to have one that big. Joey said that would be good with cream cheese and crackers. Is it real hot?
No.
Okay, let me have a bite. I got to get my own because I don't want you to give me too much.
The jalapeno is subtle.
I like that better than pepper jelly.
Me too.
All right, Zoe, you got to make that. So
Zoe, I should have plenty of blueberries this year.
Well, what about jalapenos? Did we plant any?
Not yet. I'm waiting for my seeds they're fixing to though.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That would
not very spicy.
Be good on a sandwich. It'd be good on a biscuit. It'd be good on crackers and cream cheese. That I like that better than pepper. Regular pepper.
It's a lot sweeter than regular pepper jelly.
Yeah.
I would tell you that. Now, this one we've had from them before.
We have had it. Is our bottle gone?
I think it's gone. I think we ate them all already.
Okay.
And this is a balsamic pickled strawberries.
On a burger. That would be good on a burger, don't you think?
These or those?
Those. The blueberry.
Yeah. I think it'd be good something like on a Cajun chicken sandwich.
Uh-huh.
I feel good.
We have had these before.
They're still good. It's still good. And y'all, like I said, everything's in Alabama. And it's all straight up. The ingredients are right there on the front. Blueberries, sugar, jalapenos, vinegar, lemon, and pectin. I mean, there's no...
Pretty basic. No fillers.
There's no junk.
And that's where we got the idea for the honeysuckle jelly. And I think you said you saw they have it in stock in a limited quantity.
They posted today that they had some in stock.
So if y'all are interested in that honeysuckle jelly, we said last time we thought they would probably have it, but I don't know if they did or not. But Jason saw that they...
I saw they did.
Saw that they had it.
Mm-hmm. Man,
I like the blueberry.
Whipped
I like
cream. It would be good with whipped cream. Oh, whipped cream cheese on waffles.
Ooh. You know, we're supposed to have leftovers tonight, but we are going to have to do that. I know a teenager that won't try it, but...
She don't have to try it.
Me and you can do it.
Whipped cream. That sounds delicious, Jennifer.
That does sound good.
Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
Tennessee's losing power. Goodness gracious.
I saw they said Cherokee, Alabama was under a tornado warning. Where's Cherokee, Alabama? It's got to be northwest.
Yeah. Well, you know, it looks like it's coming from north to south.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's for supper?
What is for supper?
Before we go.
A little sausage would be good, or bacon too. Bacon on the side with the whipped cream cheese.
Am I making the honeysuckle jelly this year? No, we still have some left. And I am not making it because it is labor intensive. And the reason I made it is because Stone Hollow sold out last year and I wanted some.
You better order some, man.
I got some made.
Oh, right.
I'm saying next year.
Okay.
I'm not planning on making it. I'll just buy it.
I got you.
It's good, but you know, I'm not making it again. We got a little gnat that's...
Rook, your biscuits are their fave. Somebody said that's gone.
All right. So ham and cheese cabbage noodles.
Sloppy Joes. We had Sloppy Joes last week.
Yep.
And y'all, I love Sloppy Joes. And that's just something I don't get tired of. And I ate leftovers for 4 straight days.
He's not kidding either.
Lunch or supper, one of the two.
It's something that Mary Carl won't eat. And we had lots of leftovers.
We had lots of leftovers.
It's not good. Stone Hollow, Alabama. It is
Stone Hollow Farmstead, and the farm is in Birmingham. And there's stores in Birmingham. I
Yeah,
don't think they're farms.
the store's in Birmingham, but the farm's not.
The farm's not.
Maybe it is in Stone Hollow.
The farm is in Harpersville, Alabama.
Harpersville.
Mm-hmm.
Street tacos. How about that?
Antique, the black sheep. That Antiques at Harpersville. Antique shop.
Oh, okay.
That's what I think. Harpersville, I think of her.
What else you see?
Shop. Oh, I see. Let's see here. I saw lots of tacos coming up. Pizza, meatloaf, macaroni and cheese, old-fashioned macaroni salad. That sounds good. Wild turkey and gravy. Michael, I put pickles on sloppy joes. I put them Wickles pickles, the original, not the deal, but the original, on my sloppy joes.
I made Jason and Caden those ham sandwiches, and Jason got the big jar of pickles out, and he said, "Caden, you want some pickles on your sandwich?"
It's a big jar.
And Caden said, "No, sir." And here Jason was piling his sandwich full of pickles. Caden probably thought that's gross.
He probably did, but he didn't say it.
But his mama told me he's a vegetable loving boy.
Oh, is he?
You know, he loves some home cooking, stuff that's good for you, and
ain't nothing wrong with pickles.
Oh no, nothing wrong with pickles.
Teriyaki chicken and rice, green beans and taters.
Well,
spaghetti and meatball. You know, I love spaghetti and meatballs, but we never have meatballs. It's just something that.
One time I would buy those frozen meatballs, but to me they're just not good.
I love a good meatball. It's Wickles. Wickle. It's like the word pickle, but replace the P with a W.
Wickles Pickles.
Which are made in Alabama. Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
So before we go, if y'all need something to do, go on over to Chestnut Hills Farmstead and watch their newest video, because Jason may or may not have had something to do.
Oh man, there's Clack. Clack's having salmon patties. You mean bring the syrup?
Bring the syrup.
I gotta go back. I gotta go get my belt buckle.
You do.
I gotta go over there.
Yep.
I asked Caden. Caden wears a big belt buckle.
Not when he's working though.
He did the other day when he was working.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. That's how I knew.
Well, I knew he wore it because I've been around him off the farm.
Oh no. I said, Caden, because I got a leather belt, but I need one that you unscrew or pop snaps. He told me where to go get one at. So I gotta go by Clack and get my belt, and I gotta go belt buckle, and I gotta go pick my belt up.
Okay. So Nick and Zoe's new video's out.
They're out.
It's out.
It's out.
It's out.
So this is the one where
this is the one. Yeah,
I got a cameo.
You helped them out.
I got a cameo.
You helped.
Well, I really not in. I don't have a cameo.
Well, your presence did.
My presence did.
Your insight. You let them borrow something.
Oh,
how's
man.
that?
Pulled pork enchilada sounds delicious.
It does.
Mexican street corn. I love Mexican street corn. You like Mexican street corn?
I do. And I was told that the food truck here in Clanton has the best Mexican street corn, and we have never tried it.
So we got a lot of Mexican restaurants here, and the Valley Grande one.
Mm-hmm.
I saw them talking about something today, and they were talking about their Mexican corn dip, and it looked phenomenal.
Interesting. Well, we're gonna have to try both then.
I think so.
All right, so video tomorrow, and let's hope nobody has any super bad weather tonight.
Hope y'all don't have super bad weather, and y'all are gonna love tomorrow's video. I haven't got started on it.
Well, he's recorded it.
He hasn't
edited it.
But y'all gonna love tomorrow's video.
So y'all stay tuned, and
y'all be good.